Turning now to Michigan's gay marriage debate played out in federal court over the last few weeks, and we're waiting for a judge's decision that could possibly overturn Michigan's ban. And that led to a thought-provoking article from our partners at Bridge Magazine. Is the ban on gay marriage potentially hurting Michigan's economic recovery by making us a state that perhaps isn't attractive for people to want to come to? Before we get to that quick conversation, let's talk a little bit about the case that the state put on, and now we're waiting for the judge's decision. It was interesting, borderlining on the bizarre at times.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I think the unanswered question here, and the assumption is because you have clerk in Oakland County, Brown, saying, well, I'm going to issue licenses.
And she's ready whenever.
It has. And the question that hasn't been answered, and I've asked the Attorney General's office about this and haven't got an answer yet, is gay marriage was not legal in Michigan before this ban was adopted by voters. It's not like we made something that was legal illegal. Gay marriage wasn't legal, so voters passed this preemptive ban. If the judge says the ban violates civil rights, it's no good, you can't do this, voters, does that take you back to the status quo where you were before? When
it would, in terms of state law, it would. Sure.
Well, do you still need then the legislature or voters to act?
I think in the ideal you would. I also think, though, that so much has changed on the federal landscape since Michigan instituted its ban that and I'm not saying I agree or disagree with Lisa Brown in Oakland. I'm not sure either whether she's right, but I think what she's saying is there's sufficient federal sanction for not discriminating against gay couples on this basis that she would just go ahead and issue the licenses.
But I don't think I'm uncertain she has that authority.
I'm not certain she does either.
I think obviously the legislature's not going to do this. No. I think there should be a ballot proposal. Let the voters have another shot at it in this new sort of era, and recognizing that attitudes have changed since that ban was
Stephen,
passed.
does it make Michigan unattractive to have this kind of ban in place?
I mean, it makes you something of a pariah at this point. I mean, the spectacle of this trial, I think, has been horribly embarrassing. I mean, you read the stories in the Times and the Post about the testimony that's been offered in court on behalf of the state. It's one of the worst cases I've seen of this, of a state trying to defend this thing. I actually covered the gay marriage proceedings in New Jersey when they sued, a couple there sued for it. It was a much more sophisticated case that the state put on. In the end, they lost too. There aren't really sufficient constitutional reasons to deny, to allow the state to perform this kind of discrimination is what it comes down to. But I really have been disappointed by the case that Bill Schuette's office has put on. It's been, completely laughable, kinds of the arguments that have been dismissed over and over again, not just in other state courts, but at the federal level.
Yeah, I think it was a losing approach from the beginning to try to base the argument on whether gays would be good parents or not good parents. I mean, some will, some won't, like everybody else. I think the core issue here is, do states have the right to set legal policy? And in setting this policy, did it violate someone's civil rights? I mean, marriage is a legal contract. And does the state have the right to say, you two people can enter these contracts, but you two people can't? This is not, from the purpose of the state, this is not a religious institution. This is a civil contract. And I think once you get to arguing it as a civil contract, you've got no case.
Well, we should be hearing from the judge in the next week or so for a decision.